Welcome back, viewers, to another edition of Focus on Africans, the program where we talk about our great continent, Africa. Yeah, we try to bring you very interesting African personalities, and today we got one of the most interesting personalities so far on this show. He's one of the leading African media practitioners in the Netherlands. Viewers, let me welcome Ikenna Azuike. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Ikenna, welcome. We start this program by asking our guests to introduce themselves. Who is Ikenna Azuike?
Ikenna Azuike is a young guy, actually not so young anymore.
Relatively.
33. He's a guy who really believes in the booming continent of Africa. He's a guy who thoroughly enjoys changing people's minds about the potential of the continent. He's a guy who nevertheless still likes to be critical about all the places.
The shortcomings.
The shortcomings. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Still important to be critical and highlight the shortcomings about the continent. And I guess also a guy who just enjoys making creative, hopefully funny videos.
Funny videos, okay. We'll get to your videos later. And what can you tell us about where you were born and the type of upbringing you had?
I was born in Lagos, Surulere, Lagos, in 1979, with my parents there. My dad's Nigerian, my mum's English. And sorry, what was the second half of your question? Where was I born? And
yeah, the type of upbringing.
Oh, type of upbringing. I had a fantastic upbringing. I'm very in Nigeria. Okay. Yes, I'm very lucky to have had lots of friends in the area where we lived. Thoroughly enjoyed living there. Had two parents who loved me and cared for me. Okay. Enjoyed my school days, and was
What your mother is English?
Yeah.
What was she doing in Nigeria?
She lived in Lagos, so my parents met in the UK, and then my mum went to live in Lagos with my dad, and they were there for 11 years. So yeah, she was in those days one of the few white women living in the district where we were in Lagos.
When Nigeria was Nigeria.
Yeah, it's still Nigeria. It's still Nigeria.
Okay. I read in one of your interviews that you feel immensely proud of your Nigerian heritage.
Yes.
And I mean, you have a very thick English accent, you say. Tell us why you're proud of Nigeria.
Oh, I'm proud of Nigeria for lots of reasons. I mean, it is my country of birth. My dad's Nigerian, so there's something just, I think,
click.
Yeah, you get a click. With your home country. I feel that's where my roots are. It is the most populous country in Africa. There are Nigerians everywhere you go. There's this funny joke my dad used to tell me about someone telling after the moon landing. Someone told one of the Nigerian leaders that they found it was an Igbo man. They found they've been up to the moon. He said, "Was there an Igbo man there?" I said, "No." Then they haven't been to the moon.
The thing Nigeria should be everywhere.
Exactly.
Also the dynamism of the people.
Absolutely, and very industrious, very entrepreneurial, very hardworking nation, and we perform in all sorts of areas from
levels,
talented people. Across sports.
On this program, we've spoken to quite a number of Africans, especially those in the diaspora. They seem to have a problem with their identities. Have you resolved yours? In terms of who you are, do you feel African, or you feel you are, some say they are Afropeans?
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of labels people use. Afropolitans, Afropeans, and I'm proud of my roots, and I love talking about events going on the continent, but I don't neglect the fact that my mum's roots are also in England, and that's where I was brought up for several years. So I'm pretty comfortable with my own skin.
So if you ask directly, who is Ikenna? What are you going to say?
I'll say, yeah, generally, Ikenna is a boy who was born in Nigeria. His roots are Nigerian, and he's lived in the UK, in the Netherlands, in France, in Singapore.
Global citizen.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of your shows, yeah, you use your parents. Are you that very close to them?
Yes, I love my parents very much.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, I just.
I would say your daddy boy or mommy boy.
How
you
yeah, just yeah. There's a special relationship, I think, between African sons and their fathers, always trying to impress their fathers and make their fathers proud of them. Of course, my mum as well, but yeah, there's something special about trying to do that with your dad.
Fathers also try to shape especially their sons in certain directions. Was that
No, I don't think I'm lying. Of course they do. Of course they do. And yeah, that definitely did. You know, for instance, my previous career was as a lawyer. And when I told my dad I was quitting to start an environmental platform and get into journalism, he was not happy.
Okay. And let's talk about your education.
Yeah.
What type of education did you
have? Regular kind of education
in England.
I started school in Nigeria,
okay.
And then when I came to England, just continued my schooling at the same level and went to secondary school, and then went to university and went to law school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that brings up the next question. You trained as a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Did you practice?
Yes, I did.
For how long?
It took 2 years to train. Okay. And then I worked for 4.5 years.
Were you a criminal lawyer or corporate lawyer? Or?
Why did you start with criminal? Why did you stand?
I was start with something.
No, I wasn't a criminal. I was a finance lawyer.
But that's
everyone again, money laundering, 419.
So there's really not a big difference there. And then you switched to media. Why did you switch?
Because I wanted to do something that would actually make me happy on a daily basis.
Why are you not happy making money? Laundering money, I should say.
I like the way you put that. I wasn't particularly happy. I wasn't myself. Every day I used to walk into the office, I was a different person. I didn't get satisfaction, or I wasn't stimulated by drafting loan agreements for big banks. I wanted to do something that I felt would have a more direct impact on society, and there would also be an outlet for my creativity. And so that's how I got into...
how did you develop that idea of being getting involved with society and being concerned?
Maybe it's part of this feeling of being a global citizen, and having had been lucky enough to travel a little bit and meet people from everywhere, and just see, sometimes a terrible state that the world is in, or so I think that was...
What I'm driving at is you feel immensely proud to be Nigerian. When you go to Nigeria or Abuja, the embassies, the Western embassies, you see a lot of Nigerians lining up to come to what they consider paradise. And you have the opportunity to work in a corporate legal department. You leave all those behind. Many people consider that, if not insane,
a bit crazy. Well, to be honest, I did question myself when I saw the paychecks. When I saw the paychecks, and there was a very, very big difference. But it's a cliche to say it, but we're really not here for too long, on the planet. So it's important to not live each day as your last, because that's the other extreme. And I'm very, very, very thankful for all the opportunities that were given to me by my parents and all the sacrifices that they made. But now that they see how much happier I am, and that I'm still ambitious. You know, it's not a question of, okay, my ambition is gone because
I'm still driven.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So provided that stays with me, and that I think my parents can see that, then they're still, then they're very supportive.
I didn't ask the question. What was your father's profession?
He worked in a bank.
Okay. It runs in the family, money making.
Yeah.
Okay, your mom?
A nurse, and now she's in more sort of parenting, a managerial role at a parenting charity.
In England?
Yeah, okay. In England.
Okay. And switching to the media, what can you tell us about your professional life so far?
About my media life so far?
Yeah.
It's been very good, actually. Again, I'm
what
very...
What have you been engaged in?
I started as a journalist and producer on a weekly radio show called Bridges with Africa.
In England?
In the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was like a magazine show talking about sports, culture, current affairs, politics.
What year was it?
2009.
Okay.
And then I had the idea to do something with video, okay. Namely WhatsApp Africa. So I made 2 pilots and pitched them to my boss. One was good and the other one was terrible, but he said, okay, let's give it a shot. Okay. And that was the break I needed.
So you've been, you started as a producer, journalist?
Yeah.
And now you produce your own show, What is South Africa?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But you work with Radio Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
What do you do there?
I make the show.
You're talking about, that's where you're talking about now?
Yeah, I'm talking about Radio Netherlands, yeah. So when I quit law, I went back into, or I went to journalism, I went back to the Netherlands, and managed to get a job at the bottom rung, starting on a news show at Radio Netherlands.
Radio Netherlands International?
Radio Netherlands Worldwide, yeah.
Okay.
And then I went to this weekly radio show, Bridges with Africa, and then I got the chance to pitch WhatsApp Africa, and they still support me making that. Many
Africans are rather critical of the Western media, that they don't portray Africa in a positive light. They always see disaster and famine and whatever. As an insider, how do you react to that?
I think there are some media that do exactly that. Just report on the negative aspects of the continent. But it's improving. It's improving. I think for 2 reasons. Number one, the number of bloggers on the continent, in Africa, who is increasing rapidly. More internet connectivity, more smaller creative businesses, more young entrepreneurial Africans interested in creating their own media platforms, and it's a lot easier to set up your own blog, to start tweeting.
I'm talking about the main media. I mean, I came from Africa. When I watch Dutch television, for example, I still get irritated. And the only thing I see are Africans who are waiting for charity and things like that. That's not the Africa I'm used to.
No, correct. But like I said, it's changing. Because if you look at the BBC, for instance, they've now got this huge new push towards providing content for an African audience.
Okay.
Africans in Africa and Africans in diaspora.
Okay.
So there's a new BBC Focus on Africa TV show. There's this new radio show called Newsday, which combines Focus on Africa and Network Africa. They're really trying to provide a lot more content because they know that
people have access to other sources of information.
That's right. And CNN as well. You know, they're sending more correspondents to work locally.
And what is Radio Netherlands International worldwide?
They have the team on the Africa desk is excellent.
Okay.
The journalists are all very experienced, and there's a good mix of old and young. Okay. So younger Africans and a couple of Dutch guys as well, who know exactly what the young cultural creative Africans want, you know, that it is entrepreneurial, that they're not looking for charity, they're looking for business partners, they're looking for distribution outlets to promote their own work. You know, that's the kind of once you understand that as a you know, journalistic organization, then
an organization like the Radio Netherlands,
yeah,
with the culture of this bias, how do they accept the new input?
with the culture of what, sorry?
Cultural bias, all this legacy of cultural bias.
Yeah.
How do they really entertain the new development?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Why is that? They have no choice?
Yeah, they have a choice. I mean, there are still organizations who are still very negative about the continent and only promote aid stories, development aid stories, and so on. But Radio Netherlands just they talk to their audience, so that's important. You just knowing what your audience actually really wants, and that's the young African between sort of 15 to 30 or 35. I hope, because I'm still in.
How big do you think Radio Netherlands is in Africa?
I don't know the figures.
No
in fact, no. But I mean, the BBC says its new radio show reaches 88 million Africans through its distribution network. So Radio Netherlands would have a fraction of that because it's got a fraction of the budget. But nevertheless, yeah, several 100,000.
But did they explain to you why Netherlands should need the radio to Africa?
Did they explain what?
Why it's necessary for the Netherlands to have a radio presence in Africa?
I think there's how do you say that? The goal of the organisation has changed. So before, Radio Netherlands existed to promote Dutch values internationally, but that has changed. And now the focus is to promote freedom of expression and protection of human rights. So, you know, there are still challenges in those two areas in Africa. So that's why Radio Netherlands.
Yeah, I ask because we don't seem to take communication very seriously in Africa. You've got all these Western countries beaming to us. And there's no a single African country thinking of a global media. As a professional, what do you think you like?
But again, I think that's changing. If you go,
I'm not talking about the bloggers. I'm talking about national media.
National media.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, the closest you get, I guess, is Al Jazeera then.
Al Jazeera.
I understand.
Yeah,
but that's the closest that you get. That's what you're talking
about. The Chinese also started their new media on CCTV or something like that.
Yeah.
But Africa, we don't seem to be doing much.
No, not yet. Not yet. But absolutely, it's an opportunity rather than.
You work with full-time with Radio Netherlands?
No, I work part-time at Radio Netherlands.
And then you have your own shows?
Yeah.
What's your typical day like?
Generally on
a good day?
On a good day, on a Wednesday, I do research for items for my show. So for WhatsApp. So throughout the week, I will be looking on Twitter. I'll be checking blogs to see. Okay, this is a nice item. It's current, and there's an angle in there for me to tell a story about. And that's a lot of my time is just watching YouTube videos, which is quite a fun job. And then I do the actual filming. So I need to learn my script, practice it. And then I film, and sometimes it's just straight in front of the camera, just in the studio. Other times there's a sketch, so we've got to go outside. Sometimes I need props or outfits, so I need to get those. And then there's editing, and then I don't have the skills to sit in front of the Final Cut Pro and actually make all those different effects. But I sit next to the editor and say, "Oh, can that be sharper? Can you do this there?" and all that kind of stuff.
A director.
Yeah, I guess so. And then it's about uploading it and distributing it. And
how many days do you need to put everything together?
3.
That's quite hectic.
It is. Ideally, I'd love more, but not necessarily budget for more. That's the problem.
Viewers, we'll take this short break, and when we come back, we'll continue with Ikenna Azuike. Please don't go away.
this program, Focus on Africans, hosted by the popular Pan-African writer Femi Akomolafe, who has devoted his entire life to championing African cause, we highlight this problem and try to look for solutions. Focus on Africans is a program to watch, to meet with those with passion to build a better African for ourselves and the coming generations. Focus on Africans. Together, we can build a better Africa.
Welcome back, viewers. The program is Focus on Africans. Our guest today is Ikenna Azuike, and a media practitioner in Amsterdam. He's the creator of the What's Up Africa, which you can watch on the internet. And today he has granted us, give us his time to share with us his ideas. We move to your flagship production, What is Up Africa. What is the idea behind it?
What's Up Africa is all about news, satire, comedy sketches, and promoting creative content from Africa. So yeah, that's what I try and do with the show every week, every Friday.
And you use satire and occasional sarcasm to deal with very complex issues. Why do you choose that?
Because I think humor is a pretty good tool.
More effective?
For convincing people or highlighting the areas where we can improve, where a government can improve, or whatever the story is.
So you deliberately choose satire?
Yep.
What has the response been so far?
Very good, generally, and that's something I'm really proud of. It makes me very happy, and it is the validation that I'm kind of
doing something correct.
Yeah.
How big is the audience?
It's still got plenty of room to grow.
Okay,
but generally, the videos. I mean, the highest number of views I've had on a YouTube video is 25,000, but they average around 2,000.
Do you have a geographical breakdown? Where?
A lot in the US actually, and Kenya is another
big market.
Yeah, the UK, South Africa a little bit. But then if you look at, that's according to YouTube, if you look at the Facebook fans, it really is, although it's the US and the UK, it's Africans in diaspora.
Yeah. How about Nigeria and Ghana?
Yeah, they're up there, but not like top 4, top 5.
Are you promoting it?
I am, but in that production time, there's very little time to devote to really push it. Yeah.
Oh, you're not thinking of developing a marketing department?
With a budget that I have, no, unfortunately, that's not on the cards.
Yeah, you use a lot of satire. Have you had issue with any of the people you satirize in your show?
Do I what? Sorry?
Have you had any issues with them?
Not yet. Not yet.
You're expecting so?
It could happen, especially on trips where I go back. I was supposed to go to Rwanda later this year, and I've been told that it's quite possible that I would get followed by a government representative.
Because of the show?
Yeah, because it's a current affairs show. And I'm a foreign journalist, and I'm satirizing the president probably. So they would want to just keep an eye and make sure,
you don't go through.
No, is it appropriate? But nothing yet. Nothing's happened yet.
Are you bothered about it, or are you worried about it?
At the moment, when nothing's happened, I'm cool. Okay. It's fine. Yeah. If it starts getting, spicy, I don't know. We'll wait and see. Wait and see how I react.
Are you also involved with raising awareness about the environment?
I am, yeah.
Can you tell us something about that?
I can. So nearly 4 years ago, I started a platform called Strawberry Earth.
Strawberry Earth.
Yeah, and that was also all about raising awareness about the need for all of us to live more sustainable lives, but then in a kind of hopefully fresh and optimistic and fun way, instead of trying to be moralizing and telling people, don't do that, although they shouldn't do that, but it's about how you package it.
How are you packaging it?
In that hopefully fun and optimistic way, and focusing on solutions rather than protesting and saying how things should not be done. Instead, we try and like organizations like, for instance, Greenpeace are very important. Yeah, Friends of the Earth, very important organizations, and they do very important and good work.
Yeah.
But with a different strategy. Like, we're not going to hang a banner from the top of or crash a ship into a whaling.
You're not going to do that?
It's not on the cards.
Why not?
No. Because
it's not effective for...
I think it's... there's more ways that you can achieve things, and it's important that they're there, but we can also do things. We believe basically in trying to reach a small group of people who are influential people. Okay. So they're the younger crowd who, if they start living more sustainable lives, then that will have a bigger impact for the mainstream, and other people will follow, and then...
But you have an idea exactly about the type of environment you envision?
Yeah, I mean, we just want people to think twice or three times before they buy a product, for instance, or before they choose which energy company or which bank that they choose, because there are lots of companies out there doing really good things, and who behave very responsibly, and we want those companies to become bigger. But at the moment they're still small, and
But the problem I see is, let's take for example in people in Africa, the images or they have a lot of people, Western media beaming images of what is considered civilized to them. And then you have organizations like Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth coming to tell them that should sustain the environment, and they got very conflicting information. Whether we like it or not, the standard of the West has been defined as what people should aim for in their economic development. And then you are coming with the environment. People want to also have an iPad, they want to have a car, they want to drive a car. Have you considered those challenges?
Well, there are plenty of African environmentalists. So there's a bunch of people who are working from the continent, also promoting sustainable living. And in terms of ultimately, I think for mobile phones, for instance, there is this element coltan, which is
from Congo.
Yeah, from Congo, which is extremely necessary. But how it's produced is completely not environmentally friendly in human conditions. So if there is more lobbying and more support for electronics brands who are sourcing the coltan in a more responsible way, then ultimately it's going to help Africans, it's going to help Congolese in particular. So I think, you can do it for almost selfish reasons. You can decide to support environmental initiatives for selfish reasons, because in the long term it's going to benefit Africans.
And do you consider the environment, have we reached a point at which you think is hopeless to...
I don't think about that, to be honest, because I mean, life's too short. I mean, you might as well think and be ambitious and think, we can still solve things. I'll leave all the scientific analysis about 2 degrees and tipping points and all that stuff. I leave that to other people. In the meantime, just get on with my life and try and do.
You've traveled widely. How many countries have you been to?
I don't know a specific number.
My question is...
24.
In Africa?
No, I don't know.
In Africa?
In Africa, maybe 6 or 7.
Okay. What are the things that fascinate you about the continent?
The potential. I love that. I love the potential. That is huge.
Meaning?
Meaning that there's so much. It's just buzzing. There are certain in every city there are just there are people, a new generation of young Africans who are
hungry for success.
You took the words out of my mouth, Femi. And they know how to achieve it, and they're plugged into this global community.
Do you meet them? Do you meet and talk with them when you go to Africa?
Online, and when I go, absolutely, absolutely. But it's such a
the raw energy.
It's enriching, and it's fun, and it's inspirational, and it makes. From a selfish point of view, it just makes me really, really happy about the fact that I'm making this show, and I'm also playing my part.
Okay, and what are the things that surpass you?
The do what, sorry?
What are the things you find unpleasant in Africa?
That I find unpleasant?
Yeah.
I get frustrated at some decisions taken by some of the leadership, in particular governments. Okay. I get frustrated at there is still a level of corruption that is high, although governments all over the world, can be corrupt.
Bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy, everyone suffers from that. But no, the biggest thing, for instance, there's this quote from Aliko Dangote, who says that if Nigerians were just to be able to have an extra 2 hours of power, to be assured of that every day, the GDP of the entire country would increase by 5 to 10%. And that's just 2 hours.
2 hours. You can imagine 24 hours electricity.
So if you can
provide the basic.
The government needs to provide basic infrastructure and.
We talk about what government should be doing later, and outside of the Facebook and internet stuff, do you have connection directly with Africans back in Africa?
But connection directly, how I communicate communicate with them is ultimately through Facebook. But every trip I meet new people, make friends, people come over here, people go back over there. So Toto is a good example.
And the next question is, people in Africa consider the West as a sort of paradise. Are there things of course you left Africa a very long time ago. Are there things you missed back home?
Back in Nigeria? When you acknowledge that your roots are somewhere, you're always going to miss aspects of life back in that home country, and that is
In your case, what are these?
It's just it's just that there is just a feeling that you feel that you're home, There's no specific. I can't say there's a specific place that I miss or a club or a specific meal, because I'm able to have all of those things still over here. And from the UK, there's also not. The only thing I really miss from places where I've been is the people, is friends. So.
But you communicate via the.
So I can communicate, but physically being close to them is something I'm not able to do.
And this is a program where we try to talk about the continent Africa. As an African who live in the diaspora, you go back to Africa, you see a appalling level of poverty. There are good things happening, but what do you think is responsible? Why can't we seem to get it right to lift ourselves up?
It is, some areas are getting it right, some countries are getting it right, and every government across every country across the world has their challenges. But good leadership, leaders who really see their role as one to serve the people, and are, or rather than trying to enrich themselves, is what's missing.
Okay. When you go to Africa and young guys come to meet with you,
yeah,
and they ask you, oh, what do you think we can start to do to do things differently? What do you tell them? What advice do you give to them?
To get on with it yourself. You know, find your own niche, get your own contacts, and just start. And think entrepreneurially, and don't be afraid of using a network maybe that other people have to
build your own network.
Yeah.
Okay. If tomorrow you receive a call from the president of Nigeria, making you an advisor, what are going to be the priority areas you would suggest to him?
I think it would be that energy sector, and really tackling that to improve the consistency of electricity across the country.
So energy should be the main focus. How about security?
Yeah, and then people can watch more videos, more WhatsApp Africa videos. That's the key. Everything revolves around WhatsApp Africa.
That's a good one. And what do you think Africa can learn from countries like the Netherlands?
How to make good cheese. And that's
Will
crucial.
You cheese in Africa?
That's crucial. That's like the most important thing. Cheese, yeah.
Why should cheese be crucial?
Because cheese just tastes. No, obviously, I'm just kidding.
I know you're kidding.
What can they learn from the Netherlands?
Yes. Our son is too hot for cheese. So.
That's true. What does the Netherlands do very well? Well, I like multi-party politics. It's not such a sexy thing to try and copy, but it means that because there's always a coalition government here, right? So lots of people have a say.
Okay.
And taking Nigeria as an example, that's just not the case.
The winners take all.
Precisely.
Okay, so they should learn. Learn something about building coalition. How about timekeeping?
Timekeeping, very important. Very African time. But I mean, African time is also useful because then you can say a time, but you just know actually it's +1 hour.
And what are the things we suggest we try to avoid from copying from the West?
What should we not copy? Waste, eating too much all the time. Waste. Let's go for that. Waste.
And do you take time to mentor Africans if they come up to you? Mentor?
Sure. Absolutely. Okay. Like if I'm able to engage with people who are ambitious, driven, creatives, happy to use common sense and entrepreneurial, intelligent, I've always got time for that. I say always. Just
you try to make time for that.
Nearly always.
Nearly always. But a few of people coming up to you to seek advice.
Yeah, sure. I've been when I present at events, when I host some events. Sometimes I'm getting asked to do that more and more. Then invariably one or two people will come up and say, I like your show, what do you think about it? And there was even a guy who contacted me on Facebook and said, I'd love to intern at Radio Netherlands. So that's a way I can, so I put him in touch with someone. Okay. I can't stay involved in absolutely everything because it's starting to pick up. But
with them along the way. Okay. And now on a personal level, what are your plans for the future?
My plans for the future is to develop as a presenter, to grow the audience of WhatsApp Africa, and maybe get the opportunity to maybe do some presenting on TV. Who knows?
Or in Are you planning for a year or whatever?
It depends on the opportunity.
You're not thinking of making your own TV show in Africa? Or?
Depends on the opportunity. My family comes first now. I have a young daughter and my partner.
Congratulations.
Meta. Thank you. Yeah, that comes first, and then around that
we build a fusion.
Precisely.
Oh,
yeah.
good. And what are your visions for the continent of Africa, and how do you think you can realize them?
My visions are that parts of the continent can become what Silicon Valley has been over the last 20 years, which is just where it's
creative
happening.
Energy.
Absolutely, creative energy. Where it's the financial papers in the West will not just have one or two stories about some mining corporation or some oil company somewhere in West Africa or East Africa that's doing really well, but it will also be the
intellectual development, creative.
the creative development.
Okay.
So yeah, and
how do you think this can be realized?
Just keep on the same track that we're going. Africa is world leader in terms of mobile telephony. And more and more people are getting access to the internet. And more global communities, so people are sharing information online. It's easier for investors in the US to access, to link up with entrepreneurs in Africa and support them. We're doing the right things in lots of areas.
Okay.
It's just about keeping.
Yeah, it was 10 years ago. The Economist magazine had the banner "Hopeless Continent," and I think the last about a year ago they changed it to the Rising Continent. So things are changing.
Yeah, most definitely.
And with people like you, the hope of our continent remain very bright.
Yeah, that's nice of you to say, but there's so many.
No, it's a few years ago when you come to this country, you hardly find people like you.
Yeah?
Yeah, you find Africans doing the shittiest job. Especially the media was closed. So it's gratifying to see young guys like you picking up the fight, so to say.
That's nice. That's really nice to hear.
And that's we need good image setters for our young children. When they grow up looking up to people like you, then they want to aspire to be somebody. They know it is possible. When I was 10, those things were not possible. So I'm very grateful and glad that we met. And for the inspiration you provide for the young people.
Oh, thank you very much.
And our strength in Africa is our optimism. So when I talk with people like you, full of enthusiasm, it reminds me of what people back home are doing. With the little they have, they're really, we're eternally optimistic.
Absolutely, yeah. I didn't realize that was. I'm lucky that my dad is pretty much that person, and he brought me up with this belief that literally anything is possible.
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of like, I have this.
Pessimism has no place in our cosmology. No, Africans were eternally optimistic. You ask people, how is it? Oh, everything's fine. Tomorrow will be better. That's what it says. So, thank you very much, Ikenna Azuike.
Thank you very much.
For being on Focus on Africa. Thank you for watching this edition of Focus on Africans. And it has been a very interesting discussion with Ikenna. And we do our best to bring interesting people to this program. And with the hope that the viewers also can learn from what other people are doing, how they are shaping their life positively. And our strength on the continent is our eternal optimism. We have a lot of challenges, but there are sadly reason to be pessimistic. On this note, I say thank you very much for watching, and to our advertisers, I say thank you for supporting us. My name is Femi Akomolafe. Until next week when we meet again, I say Ire.